Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy almost Thanksgiving. If you are in the United States, you are probably celebrating next week. Although, what is up with the calendar, you guys? Normally, it's this week that is Thanksgiving, which would mean it's Wednesday, so tomorrow would be Thanksgiving, but instead it's next week, and we have to wait another week, and then for some reason, it's at the end, and then we have this much time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So everything we're getting prepared for that around here. And I am coming with a new episode. So exciting. I have been a very monogamous. And by monogamous, I mean I worked on 2 projects plus a pair of socks. So not really monogamous, but certainly more monogamous than I usually am. So I have so much to tell you and some exciting things planned for this episode. So let's jump right in. First of all, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as The Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook, The Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. You will find links to all of those directly down below. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, inquiries, just kind words, anything you want to send my way, please shoot me an email. That is the best way to get a hold of me. And I have an email address specifically set up for this podcast. So my email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Water break. I didn't get sick. I know last time I had the sniffles a little bit. I did not get sick, but I'm still a little scratchy. So it's definitely allergies, and it's super annoying because it won't go away. So I have something pretty exciting actually for this podcast episode. I actually have a sponsor, and I am pretty excited to tell you about them. Not because they're sponsoring this episode, but because you all know if I'm going to share something on my podcast, I'm going to be honest about it, and all of my opinions are my own. So you can trust what I'm telling you on this. I only work with brands and companies that I will support, and I really want to support this brand. So there's a jewelry company, I know, jewelry, not even yarn, called the Luisa Jewelry, and they sell jewelry online. And so they reached out and asked if they could sponsor an episode and send me a couple of products to review. And I was like, sure. So let me show you. One of the things that I really like is that their packaging is recycled, and for all of their gold jewelry, they use 100% recycled gold. And I like that so much because we have so much waste constantly. I have been even just taking my snacks to work, trying to cut down on the amount of plastic I use because we all need to do that. And so I really, really support that. So let me show you. It came in this little cardboard box. It has that saying inside. It says, "Life has its beautiful moments," and this is one of them. And then the actual little box that it came in was this beautiful little Ana Luisa box. And inside was the jewelry in these beautiful little pouches. So let me show you what they sent me. So first of all, I don't know if you can see that, but you see these little round cubic zirconium earrings? So they sent me a pair of those. They sent this beautiful, let's see if I can do it without getting a glare on it, silver ring. And then, I don't even know how well you're gonna be able to see this beautiful little dainty necklace that's I would say I was really surprised because all of their jewelry is light as a feather. And I'm generally not a necklace person, but I have been wearing this several times since they sent it to me because it's not hanging there. It doesn't bother me. And I'm generally pretty hard on my necklaces as well. And normally I'll just rip them off and break them. And I haven't because it's close enough to where I'm not gonna rip it off. And this is the ring. The ring, I always wear a ring on this hand, and normally I wear my spoon ring, which I'm sure you've seen if you watch this podcast, but I've been wearing this one nonstop, and people have been loving it. So the reason that I am excited about that is, first of all, the reason I never talk about jewelry that I wear is because, unfortunately, I can only wear real jewelry. And by real, I mean it has to be silver, sterling silver, or gold. It can't be anything else. I suppose it could be stainless steel if I'm wearing it like a necklace or a ring, but any of that plate, nickel kind of jewelry, it will turn my skin green if I wear it around my hands or my neck, or it will really hurt my ears. So the amount of jewelry that I have, I always wear earrings, but I'm kind of limited in my options unless I want to spend a lot of money. And that's one thing I really like because their prices are pretty reasonable. I actually got something for a friend for Christmas. I'm thinking about it because they're just so reasonable and beautiful. And like I said, I would not tell you about something if I didn't personally love their products. I have been wearing these nonstop since I got them, as well as the ring, and I've worn the necklace. I've worn a necklace more days in the past 2 weeks than I have in months. And the only necklace I usually wear is if I'm having a really stressed out day. I have like a lava bead necklace that I put essential oils on. So I really think it's a great product, and I will leave a link directly down below. So it'll be at the top of all of the links, so you won't have to scroll or anything like that. There's a link that you can click on that will take you directly to their site. And if you're gonna purchase something from their site, definitely use that link because it will let you know that you're coming from my podcast. And you will get, they're having a kind of like a Thanksgiving, a Black Friday, Cyber Monday type sale that will give you up to 25% off of something. So from now until Black Friday, which this goes live on Saturday, so you'll have almost a week. The link will still work after that. It just may be a little bit of a different promotion. So I encourage you to click on the link and at least check out what they have. Like I said, I've been really, really happy with the quality of their products and the wearability of their product. And I keep getting compliments on this ring. And it's been like 3 people so far that have complimented me on the ring, and I find that really interesting because I don't think anyone said anything about my jewelry in like months. So I think that's all I have to say, although I'm just gonna keep wearing it and you can see it. But definitely go check it out for yourself because I like their product, but I also support what they're trying to do, which is to create less waste. And gold mining especially is like very labor intensive, and you have to go through like so many tons of ground to be able to get some gold out. And so I really support that they're making something beautiful out of recycled gold. That speaks to me. So I don't know, I feel like a real podcaster now. Is that crazy? Anyways, let's talk yarn, shall we? You can just admire what I'm wearing from the entire time that I'm talking to you. As I said, have been working on 2 projects and a pair of socks. I have 0 finished objects. I don't know what is going on with me. I have no desire at all to cast on anything new. Like none. It has left the building. Now I'm taking advantage of this and like really, really working hard on a few specific things that I want to get done. But I can't even remember the last time that I didn't want to start a project this badly. So I have one project that I'm very happy with, and I'm going to start with the socks, and then we'll talk about the one that I'm really happy with, and then we'll talk about the one that I'm not so happy with. But I'm still working on it. Okay, socks. I only have 1 pair of socks on the needles. Is that crazy or what? Because normally, you'll know it's the year of the sock, 2019. P.S. We have a year-long informal sock make-along running until December 31st, which is just make socks for the year of 2019. And I've been drawing quarterly prizes, and I have a very special grand prize for the 4th quarter to announce. I was going to save it, but I think I'm going to say it now. If you remember a few episodes ago, Hobbii Yarn sent me 6 balls of yarn to review, and so I've made 3 pairs of socks out of those yarns, and they actually offered to send a prize for the year of the sock. And so that prize, I just confirmed with them this week that they're still on board with offering that prize. That prize is a $50 voucher to Hobbii Yarn. So whoever wins that will get $50 of free yarn from Hobbii Yarn. And you know that I have been pretty impressed with their sock yarn, especially the Happy Feet sock yarn. That was by far my favorite. I think it's comparable to Knit Picks Felici. So that is a prize. I'm so excited. And there'll be hopefully a few other prizes as well for the 4th quarter. So that's one make along we have running. And then the Villains Mal and the Vanya Cal are both wrapping up before the next podcast episode hits. So make sure you get your entries in by November 30th, the last day of November. And I will have prize winners to announce in the next episode, which should air the 1st Saturday in December. So pretty excited about that. You still have time. Anything related to a villain, you can put in the Villains Make Along. And if you are making the Vanya Cowl, it works up really, really fast. So you still have time to do that. So anyways, you will know that I have had multiple pairs of socks on the needles at all times this year. And I have had so little desire to start new projects that I actually only have 1 pair of socks on the needles right now. These socks, if I can find the tag, the yarn that I'm using is Serenity Premier Sock Yarn in the colorway chili. Why is it called chili? Who knows? So this is the sock yarn, and I'm using this random Knit Pick Stroll in gray. It might be gray heather for the cuffs, heels, and toes. So last time, oh God, I'm dropping everything. It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't drop something on the floor, right? I finished a sock. Last time I was only here, I was halfway through the heel of the first sock, and now I finished the whole first sock, and I actually really, really love how it's working up. I just love it. They're so cute. So what I did is I work all of my socks on 9-inch, 2.25 millimeter Chalgu red lace circular needles. So I did a cast on of 60 stitches for this, 2x2 rib for 15 rounds. Then I did stockinette for 15 rounds, a fish lips kiss heel. I worked the foot, and then I did Mina's rounded toe from the Mina Phillips 2 at a time sock recipe. It's her free sock pattern, which I highly recommend. So that is one sock, but I actually have started the second one, and I'm on the foot. And I've only been working on these outside of the house. I haven't knit on these inside the house at all. So these have been like my work socks. So I feel I've done, these are definitely gonna be done by the next time. This is pair 18. I'm pretty sure. I'm always questioning what pair it is, but this is pair 18 for the year. I had this crazy thought, like, what if I could make 20 pairs in a year? But as there's only 1 month left, I think that that's probably not reasonable, especially because my sock mojo is winding down a little bit at the moment. Because all of my knitting time is going to one project and one project only, and it is my husband's Gramps cardigan. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna be blown away. I'm blown away. It's living in my giant bucket that I got from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. Claudia and I are possibly going to be hosting a make-along next year. Just keep that in the back of your mind. It's going to be great. So, as I said, this is the Gramps cardigan. This is a paid-for pattern by Tin Can Knits. And this... that was not helpful. This is what it looks like. It goes from baby all the way up to adult sizes, and it is very well sized. Let's see what the biggest measurement is. The biggest measurement goes up to 60 inches, 59.5 inches bust, which is fabulous. So if you are of almost any size, you can make this. The yarn that I am using is Valley Yarn's Superwash DK, and it's 100% extra fine superwash merino wool. You get 137 yards per 50 grams, and I have the colorways navy and gray. I bought, I think, 10 balls of the navy, and I have 5 left. So that's exciting. And I bought 5 balls of this gray because the gray is going to be the collar, the shawl collar, the cuffs, the bottom ribbing, and the little patch things on the elbows. Are you ready for how much progress I've made on this? Because I don't think you are. It's so tall, it won't even fit in the screen. Ignore these. These are my, the crochet cotton that I put the armholes on hold with. So here we go. I have to turn this around. This is the back. So we've got the yoke, we've got my beautiful raglan increases. And this stitch marker right here is where I was last time. And I have knit all of this. I knit almost 7 inches from the last time you saw this, which means I measured it this morning. I have 3 or 3.5 inches left before starting the bottom in gray. Can you believe that? I am so excited. Like, I have been just dedicating almost all of my time to this and alternating. If my hands get tired with one project, I do this, and vice versa. I've been spending all of my time on 2 projects, and I got 7 inches done. My goal is to have this sweater potentially done by January, because that's the only cold month in Florida. So if I don't have it done by January, he's not going to get to wear it until next year, which would break my heart. So I really, really have to focus. But I'm making a lot of progress. I do think the sleeves are actually going to go really fast because I will be knitting them in the round instead of back and forth with all this purling. Although, I don't know, I just kind of in the past maybe 3 weeks have fell into a rhythm with this purling. where it doesn't seem to bother me as much as it did before. Maybe I just needed like a ton of practice. I still don't like it as much as knitting. I just want to go in a circle. If I ever make this cardigan again, I'm gonna make it in a circle and stick it. So what I'm doing is ChowGoo has their blue shorty kit, which is this size needles. It's like a tiny interchangeable kit. You can make up to 9 to 12 inches, 9 to 14 inch circulars. So I'm waiting for a Black Friday sale so that I can see if I can get my hands on some of those, because it's like $100. But if I can get them on sale, then that will really help me finish this cardigan. I think if I can't get them on sale, then I'll just have to do it magic loop for the sleeves, which will be highly irritating, but still better than purling. So I am so excited, so excited. So I have 5 balls left plus half a ball approximately. Oh, my shell's falling off. So can we just take a moment to appreciate this blue? I love this yarn. I really would make, I would make so many projects in this yarn. It is soft, it doesn't split. I've been dragging this all over the place. It hasn't purled at all. Purled. It hasn't, what am I trying to say? Fuzzed up? Is purl the right word there? Well, you know what I mean. It hasn't gotten fuzzy. So I tried it on my husband when the yoke was done and the armholes fit, and then I tried it on him this morning to make sure that the length in the pattern was the length that he wanted. And yes, I think I still need 5 more inches, 3 of the blue and 2 of the gray in ribbing. So we're traveling next week for Thanksgiving. We're driving to South Carolina to spend time with my in-laws, his parents. So I'm gonna take that project and one other project, which will be a knit hat. So I'm making one gift for Christmas, and it is a knit hat for my sister-in-law out of this beautiful purple yarn, which you'll see it. She's not here, so I can talk about it, and hopefully she won't be here the next time I podcast, because I really want to focus on getting that done while we're out of town, because I can't work on it when she's around, and she lives with me, so she's around a lot. So that's project number 1. Project number 2, you have not seen in quite some time, but as I said, I've had no desire to start anything new, and I am in very much a finishing place, although finishing seems like such a far away goal on this project that who knows when this will be done. It has been living in the whole time this beautiful mustard bag that I got from Faye of Knit It, Hook It, Craft It, and this is waxed canvas and this beautiful wool, and this is the project that is frustrating to me. It is the Soft Gray Cardigan by Cat Golden. It is a pattern that was in Simply Crochet magazine. It also is in a book where she has this pattern. So there's 2 places you can get it. You can't just get it as a Ravelry download. You have to buy the whole magazine. What I will say is that if you're thinking about making this cardigan, just don't do it. Just don't. It's one of those situations where I'm like, this pattern was done too quickly because it's got some problems. One of the problems, which I think is a huge problem, is the amount of yarn called for in this pattern is nowhere near the amount of yarn you need. So it calls for, let's see here. She uses, it says it's Aran yarn, 50 grams for 100 meters, which that yardage seems about right. But you need, for the large size, you will need 9 50-gram balls. There's no way that's not, on what planet would that be accurate? That would be 450 grams of yarn for this sweater. And so obviously the yarn requirements are way, way off. You need at least double that. Like I would say I'm probably gonna use at least 1,000. So at least 10 skeins of yarn for this project, which I honestly was considering frogging, but a lovely viewer of this podcast named Amanda sent me a bag that has more skeins in it so that I could finish this, and so that gave me the motivation to pull it out. And I even then was like, should I just rip it out and make a different cardigan with this yarn? Should I knit the yarn into a mix and match sweater by Mina Phillips? Should I find another crochet cardigan? But I honestly swatched for this cardigan, like I swatched for different projects with this yarn maybe 4 or 5 times, and it wants to be this cardigan. You know when the yarn just tells you what it wants to be? It wants to be this cardigan so bad. So it has to be. So I had one sleeve done before, and I had half of another sleeve done. So I finished the second sleeve and then I blocked them. And that was kind of my measuring tape, because if the sleeves did not come out to the size that I wanted them to when they were blocked, then I was gonna rip the whole thing out because I knew I wouldn't wear it. But they did come out to the right size. So here is sleeve number 1. And I'll do this so you can see it. So it's all done in Tunisian knit stitch. And this is the cuff. And this is sleeve number 2. So I have 2 completed sleeves. I have not seamed them. So basically the construction on this cardigan is you work the sleeves first from the bottom up. Then you seam them and mark some certain stitches. Then you work the body from the bottom up, and then you do a reverse raglan decrease, and then you pick up for a collar. So both sleeves are done. One of the things that irritates me beyond all reason about Tunisian crochet, and specifically about this project, is it curls like nobody's business. It is so hard to manage. I will show you. This is what the body of the sweater looks like. Which, okay, fine. Like, I've been considering blocking it just so it will quit doing this for a while. I understand that Tunisian crochet curls, but this is outrageous. And it's really hard to work with because every time I'm going along, I have to uncurl it as I go. So this was not started at all before you saw last time. So I finished the sleeve, and then I cast on the body, and I did the bottom band, which you probably can't even see because it won't stop curling. And then I've done about 5 to 6, it's about 6 inches total. And you can even see right here where I'm putting my thumb, that little hole. This is another thing that I have a complaint about. I have complaints at the moment. This yarn, you see this? That means the yarn broke and they felted it back together. If that had happened just once, okay, fine. That is the 3rd time that it's happened. There's 1 on the sleeves where it was felted together, 2 already on here. And I bought 7 skeins of yarn for this project, so this is skein number 5. Is that skein number 5? Yes, skein number 5, I have this much left. So I have 2 skeins left, and then I am going to wind up some of the beautiful yarn that Amanda sent me. But I don't think that that's acceptable. I understand this is a commercial weight yarn, but it's like $11 to $15 per skein, depending on where you get it. And it should not have that many felted joints. And this is superwash merino, so it shouldn't be felted to begin with, really. Like, you can tell if I wasn't going to cut this out, there is no way that that would look normal in a stitch or be structurally sound. Like, I can tug on this and it's already coming apart a little bit. So, but look at how beautiful it is. That's the problem, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. So Tunisian crochet is slow. It's slower than regular crochet. It's slower than knitting for me. And I really enjoy doing it, but this project is like irritating me. So what I've been doing, because I really do want to finish it, I have decided that I'm going to finish it. It's going to be much more of a coat than it is a cardigan because it's going to be very heavy. But once these were blocked, I knew I have to finish this. Even if working on it makes me a little squirrely because it's so gorgeous, like, it's going to be worth it. Just don't make the pattern. There's a couple of errors in the pattern. There's not a lot of explanation, and just don't. Just save yourself the frustration. So I'm going to keep working on it. What I've been doing is working on it, like, I'll do 1 row, and then I'll do a knit row, maybe 2 rows on my husband's cardigan, and then I'll do 1 row, and then I'll do 2 rows. So it's coming along very slowly, but it is having some progress. I got 6 inches on the body done. I don't know how much of this I'll have done next time, because as I said, we're going out of town, but it will be finished at some point. I have decided, and I'm determined to finish it. And the hook that I'm using is, I use Denise Tunisian interchangeable hooks. So they're made out of plastic, and I really, really love them. They're so light. And I had a shorter cable on this for the sleeve, but I actually have a really long cable that a viewer of this podcast sent me some long cables, and it's such a wonderful cable to do the entire thing on. So that is the project. My tale of woe It's not really that woeful, honestly. I was just kind of irritated. I'm irritated by the whole thing. Like, if it's in a magazine, like I just feel like it should be a better pattern. Like somebody should have looked at that and been like, there's no way you're making an entire cardigan out of 450 grams of yarn in Tunisian. Crochet uses more than knitting, and Tunisian crochet uses so much yarn. It's like a yarn hog. So don't make this cardigan. I would, if you're gonna make it, I would suggest trying to make it in a DK weight and double the amount of yardage at least that is listed in the pattern. And be a fairly experienced sweater maker and Tunisian crochet person, because you're gonna have to figure some stuff out. So, oh, I forgot to tell you, that reminded me being on a rant about Tunisian crochet. What am I wearing? This is my Maritime Stripes shawl. It's the very first fingering weight Tunisian crochet shawl that I ever made. And let me take it off so you can see it. It's a really unique shape. So you start here, you kind of increase, and then you decrease much slower. Or maybe you start on the other side. I don't remember. But so it's very asymmetrical, and typically I'm not a huge fan of asymmetrical shawls. However, this shawl has become my travel shawl. Every time we go somewhere where it's gonna be cold, this is the one I take. I made this out of wool-like in teal blue and like a maroon color. So the entire thing cost maybe 10 bucks to make, and it weighs nothing. It's light as a cloud. I love wool-like in general, but I especially love wool-like for shawls. And what happens is when it's actually cold, see, if I wear it like I want to wear it right now, this little end is really short and this little end is really long. But in a cold place, what I do is I actually just tie this into an actual knot, and I put it under there, and then I put my coat on top, and it doesn't move, and it keeps my neck warm. This went with me, it's been with me on work trips. It went with me to Washington, D.C. a couple years ago. It's been with me to the UK. Like, I have taken this everywhere, and I love it. And the pattern was really great too. I got it out of, where did I get it from? A magazine, but it's linked in my Ravelry page if you find this project. So it's Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted time, which is already pretty much over, which if you're not on Instagram, you won't know what that is. But basically it's an Instagram campaign where every November people grant other people's wishes and get their yarn wishes granted back. So I have been super blessed to get some packages in the mail. I'm not going to share everything with you. Basically, the things that I wished for were like solid colored fingering weight yarn, because I have some sweater things I want to do next year, and like recycled things. And then my final wish is always send me a bag of tea, because you can put a bag of tea in an envelope and mail it with just one stamp. It won't weigh any more than that. So I've been shoving them all in here, but I have a whole little thing of cards full with bags of tea in them, which I'm very, very excited about, because if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I have a cup of tea every morning at work, sometimes two, and I post them all on Instagram and you can see them. I did get one very special thing though that I wanted to show you. It's from a viewer named Chris, and it's this beautiful alpaca yarn from a farm that is local to her. So she lives in Wisconsin. Is WI Wisconsin? Yes. So she lives in Wisconsin, and this alpaca farm is like 10 miles away from her, and that's the natural color, and it's incredibly gorgeous. I am fairly sensitive to alpaca, so I don't know what I'm going to make with this, but this is like such special yarn. It's local, and it's from an alpaca, and it's right next to her house, and it's the real alpaca. It's just amazing. So I'm going to make something really special with this at some point. So thank you so much. That was really special. And I got a little bit of happy mail from Kalisha, who is my favorite person, of course. She has the Quirky Monday Craftcast. So if you don't know what that is, you need to, I'll leave a link directly to her podcast down below. You need to go check it out. So I had posted on Instagram requesting to know if anyone had worked with Knit Picks palette yarn before. And if you have worked with Knit Picks palette yarn, comment down below and tell me what you thought of it. Because it's really inexpensive. It's like $3 or less per 50 grams. And it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, so not superwash. It comes in an amazing array of colors. And I just said, I don't know if I can handle it because it's pretty woolly, I feel. and I don't know if I want to order it. Like, I'm nervous. And she said she had 2 balls. Would I like to try them? And I said, yes. So I think what I'm going to do is actually knit a little swatch or crochet a little swatch and like kind of carry it around with me, like maybe under my bra strap for a little while and see if it bothers me. Because if I can handle this yarn, that will open up a whole world of natural fiber to make things out of because they have so many colors and it's so inexpensive. So I'm really excited to try that. Thanks, Kalisha. But that's not all. She included some beautiful lavender lemon tea from, I don't know where, Byler's? It smells amazing. So good. It's the cutest thing in the world. Is a llama tea infuser. This is possibly the best thing I have ever seen. I am so excited. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's so cute. Oh my gosh. That is the best thing ever, Kalisha. I'm gonna take it to work because I have a loose leaf tea diffuser at home. It's like a little silicone tea bag, but I don't have one at work. And work is where I drink the majority of my tea. And oh my gosh, I love it so much. He's so cute. So excited. And I did get some loose leaf tea from the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. So, oh my gosh. It's just the best thing ever. So let's see. Now, you may be thinking, oh my gosh, it's only 30 minutes and she's only worked on 2 projects and a pair of socks. What are we gonna do for the rest of the time? Well, I'm gonna give you a quick life update. And then a while back in October, at the end of October, I had a giveaway prompt where I asked people to ask me a question that I was going to use for an upcoming episode. Ta-da! I just had a feeling that I was gonna have an episode where I would be a little short on actual yarn content because I was gonna be like, it was the start of me being monogamous and trying to be finished with the projects. So I'm just gonna answer some questions, which you can get to know me. And basically the life update is, it's Wednesday right now. Tomorrow is Thursday. Let's see. Tomorrow at work, we have our Thanksgiving potluck, which is called Taco Giving because we're having tacos instead of turkey. And I volunteered to bring a cake. We have an Italian market like 2 miles from my house called Mazzaro's. If you ever have been to St. Pete or go to St. Pete, you've got to go there. But they have weird hours, so make sure you check before you show up. They make an espresso cream cake, which is the best cake I have ever had in my life. And we bought it for something, I don't remember what, and everybody was blown away by this cake. So I was volunteered to bring this cake to the potluck, so I am bringing cake to a taco party. The next night we have Friendsgiving, which is everybody who's part of the church that we are attempting to start in St. Petersburg. We're just gonna have a get together. So that's Friday night. And then there's the weekend and there's stuff planned. And then Wednesday night, we're actually driving to South Carolina to spend Thanksgiving with my husband's parents and his sister and her husband and their, I think he's 3 now. So it's gonna be quite a crazy time, but I'm looking forward to that. My life does not slow down very much. It's been a really long week. I'm actually having a pretty good day right now, but yesterday was super rough because I didn't sleep much the night before, and that's really, really hard for my anxiety. But today I'm doing a little bit better. I'm trying to keep it all under control. And yeah, I think that's the life update for now. So I have my iPad. I'm gonna pull up some questions on Ravelry and I'm just gonna read them and then I'm gonna answer them one at a time. And if it's the same question that I've already answered, then I'm just gonna skip it. So if I don't read your question personally, please don't take it. Don't take offense. It's just, I may have already answered it. So question number 1, how do you get your ideas for designing? Literally from anywhere. Generally, it depends on the design. Sometimes I'll have a stitch pattern or a shape in my head and I have to try and make it work in the yarn. Sometimes I'll have the yarn and I have to try and find a stitch pattern for it. And sometimes I'm like looking through a book or something and then I just see a stitch pattern that makes me want to make something in that yarn. I will say I do some crochet lace designs, but the majority of my designs are solid fabric or solid and lace. I like a good solid fabric, especially in crochet. Question 2, what is my most favorite piece I have ever made? Definitely 100% the Ariana cardigan that I showed in the last episode. That is my favorite make of all time. Have I ever tried to teach someone to knit or crochet? Yes, actually, I have taught a couple of people to knit or crochet. In fact, I've taught quite a few people, but the people that have stuck with it, I would say like 2 people. 2 better. Where did I grow up and do I have siblings? I was born in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and then we lived in Maryland, and then we lived in New York, and then we lived in Virginia, and then we moved to Florida when I was 8. So I have been in Florida for 22 years. Ooh, I'm like really from Florida now. Like my blood is thin. It was 60 degrees this morning. I was freezing, you guys. And I have one brother, and he is 34, and he and his girlfriend and their baby live with us at the moment. So we have quite a full tiny house. What is one crafty skill, could be related to fiber or not, that I would love to learn? Oh, that's a good question. I've always been fascinated by double knitting. Like, the process fascinates me. I don't know if I actually want to do it. It seems like I just want to knit in a circle. That's really all I want to do. But double knitting does seem pretty fascinating to me. What is my ideal setup for a day of relaxation and crochet? Well, I have 2 ideal setups. One is me on the couch all day while my husband plays video games and I crochet and I have snacks and I'm just in my corner of the couch that's right here with my lamp, and it's raining outside and like a little bit cold, and that's my ideal day. The other thing is, if I don't want to be at home, my ideal day would be I would go to Starbucks or something and knit and crochet there. I used to do that all the time. Let's see. Who in my early life influenced me and helped me make wise choices? Well, of course, my parents. My poor parents. I was so obnoxious as a teenager, and a child. I'm still obnoxious, honestly, let's be real. I'm just a little more socially acceptable. I was the worst. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you're watching. I'm sorry. I was the worst. So definitely they had a big influence on me. I would say, I feel like the people who had the biggest influence were people in college. Like my friends and my professors in college. I feel like that's when I went through the most transformation in my life. How did I start crocheting, and what is the first thing I ever made? I have no idea what the first thing I ever made was. Actually, that is not true. I know exactly what the first thing I ever made was, but it was not crochet. So I learned how to knit before I learned how to crochet. My dad knits. He always has known how to knit. And I never really picked it up. But when I went to college, this is a sad/funny story. I had a boyfriend who wanted to talk to me on the phone for just forever, every day. Just wanted to talk to me, and I was profoundly bored. Obviously, that relationship didn't work out because he just wanted to talk and talk and talk, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't read a book because then he would know that I wasn't paying attention. And this was before the days of scrolling on Instagram mindlessly. So I had to do something. And there was a little course that was in the gym at school. These people were putting on a learn how to knit course. So I went and I learned how to knit, and then I knit striped scarves for all my friends out of just acrylic yarn that I got from Joann's, but a nicer acrylic. And actually, a fun fact, my husband has one and he never wears it because it's a yarn sausage. It literally it's this wide, it rolls up into this because it's just stockinette. It's never been blocked and it doesn't have a border. And who knows where that yarn is, but he has one that I made him because we were friends in college way before we started dating. And I just made striped scarves for everyone, and I learned how to knit, and then I did that for a while, but just casually, I would make gifts for people. And then after I got married, I would say a year later, I tried to pick up knitting again, and I just wasn't into it. So I learned how to crochet, and then I did that for 6 years probably, and then maybe 5 or 6 years, and then I picked up knitting again. This is a great question. If I could custom dye yarn, what color would it be? And what would I name it? Okay, definitely 1000% neons, hot pink, electric blue, lime green, highlighter yellow. I would dye those colors. I would also dye blue and gray because those are my favorite colors, blue, gray, and hot pink. What would I name them? I don't know, but I would definitely, they would be something nerdy. If I could make it nerdy, Star Wars related, Harry Potter related, it would definitely be that. How do I keep track of my whips? Not well, honestly. Don't look to me for advice here, please. if you've been around a while, I did a what's in my whip basket episode one time, and there were whips in there that had been in there untouched for a year, which is honestly, that's why I'm trying to clean this out. I finished that shawl that had been in there for a year. I'm working on this cardigan, the soft gray cardigan that's been in there for a year. I'm trying to get some stuff cleared out. There's actually projects in my whip basket that haven't even been started. They're just hanging out in there. And I don't keep track of them very well. I'm trying to do a better job of keeping track of them on Ravelry so that I know where I'm at. But I just kind of work on what I want to at the time. And if I feel like starting new projects, I do. And if I don't feel like starting new projects, then I don't. Do I have another new pattern in my head already? Is this like an art form where something's always kicking you? Actually, I would say yes and no. I do have another pattern in my head, and it's from some beautiful blue and green yarn. And I want it to be the next design in the Harry Potter series, shawl series, but I have had zero desire to cast anything on, so I have not started it. But that's more of a shape, and I'm not it's gonna require a lot of thinking. I think that I figured out how to do it in my head, but once you get with the yarn, like, who knows if it's really gonna work that way. So I don't know, I hope so, but I would say most of the time I have some kind of a design idea floating in my head, but that doesn't mean I'm actually working on it. Like, I can turn that part of my brain off and just work on the Gramps cardigan for 2 weeks straight and it not really bother me. Am I a process crocheter or knitter, or am I a product? I would say it depends on the thing. I am definitely going to be a product crocheter for this because it's going to be amazing, but I don't love working on it. But the process of crochet and knitting definitely helps my anxiety. It's something I try to do a little bit every day, and I can definitely feel it on the days that I don't do it. What is my favorite item to crochet and my favorite item to design? I would say my favorite thing to design is definitely accessories. So shawls, scarves, cowls, hats, things like that. I just love them. They're just what I do, apparently. My favorite thing to work on, garments. I love garments. Let's see, how do I edit videos on YouTube? I record on my phone, which at the moment I have an iPhone 11, and I just got a new tripod. Oh, it's so great. It literally is the best thing ever. And then I import the video into my laptop and I edit it in iMovie and upload it to YouTube. iMovie is not the best, but I am not the best editor. Generally, I try to record this all in one shot. Do I have a craft room or craft space? And do I do any crafts besides crochet and knitting? I do not have a craft room. All of my yarn is in a closet in our guest bedroom, just crammed in there. I have a little corner of the couch that has a little table next to it where I have all my notions and stuff, and it has a basket next to it that has a whip basket. So I guess that's my craft space. That's generally where I am, in that corner of the couch with my lamp. I do not do a ton of other crafts. I used to do scrapbooking. I used to do beading. Sometimes I sew. I still do that. But I would say once I found knitting and crochet, I stopped doing all kinds of things. They're my one true loves. Crochet is always my true love. How do I decide who is going to test my patterns? Good question. I have quite a list of pattern testers who I email when there is a pattern available for testing and they respond to me. Generally, it's first come, first serve. If in the future, if I design a garment or something, people will actually have to apply because I'll have specific requirements. I need so many per size, etc. But definitely, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I just clapped in the screen. There is a mosquito in here and it's for 100% gonna bite me. 100%. Ugh, so irritating. I didn't get him, by the way. I clapped for nothing. So basically it's first come, first serve. If you want to be a tester, you can email me at the Cozy Cottage Crochet. I need to know how many years you've been crocheting. Have you ever tested a pattern before? Because a lot of times people who want to test aren't valuable to me as a tester because they don't give me any good feedback. They'll just be like, oh yeah, I liked your pattern, or no, I didn't like it. Well, that's not super helpful to me because I need to know what about it made sense, what about it didn't make sense, did you meet gauge, all of these things. So I try to get that information from my testers. If someone just never contacts me again after they get the pattern, then I take them off my tester list. But I would say that's happened very, very few times. And I'm so grateful to all of my testers because you have made me able to release all kinds of designs on Ravelry, and it's just the best thing. What is my normal routine for the day, and how do I work in time for crochet and knitting? My normal routine on a work day is I get up, I get a shower, I make my lunch, and then I try to have 20 minutes of crochet or knitting time before I go to work. I work until 5. I come home, usually 5:15. My schedule is all over the place at night. I could be doing something with the church, having a small group. We may need to run errands. Like, it's literally all over the place. Like tonight I'm podcasting and then we have to go run out to the store. So I find time to knit and crochet by, if I'm sitting down, I'm knitting, and I take socks with me to work all the time so that I can knit on my lunch break. Oh, this is such a good question. How do you find the strength to frog a project that is not working? Yeah. Well, for one thing, I don't do it right away. So always sleep on it. If I'm just like really frustrated with something, I'm not just gonna frog it right then. I'm gonna put it in a bag. I'm gonna sleep on it for at least a few days, sometimes a few months, before I get up the nerve to frog it. But I will frog stuff if it's not working for me, because I'm not gonna waste my time. Like I'm definitely at the point in my fiber life where I have beautiful handmade things that I've made, and I don't need to waste my time on things that I'm not going to wear, not going to use, that are going to sit in a bucket, right? So I would say don't frog when you're angry, because that's always a bad idea. Sleep on it, frog the next day, frog a week later, frog a year later. But if you're not working on it and it doesn't bring you that sense of joy, like you just know you're never going to finish it, and every time you pick up the project you hate it, you aren't excited about the finished object, then you just need to frog it. It's just yarn. You can make something else. You can make something better. You can make something more beautiful. What is my favorite pattern of all time? And the worst pattern of all time of things that I've made? I don't know if I have a favorite pattern. I will say, I'm going to say my Ariana cardigan again, because it's my most favorite thing that I've ever made. I know it's because I just finished it, but literally it's the best. So I highly, highly recommend that pattern. The worst pattern, I've made some pretty awful patterns, honestly, and I think that it's helped my skill as a crocheter and a knitter. I will say 2 come to mind. One was my bookworm sweater by Natasha Robarge. I just had the worst time with gauge on that sweater, and I threw that sweater like across the room a couple of times. But hey, I was wearing it this week because it worked out. The other pattern is the Seashore Bliss cardigan by Drops Design, which you can see if you go on my Ravelry page. That cardigan like melted my brain. The pattern is horrible. It's like handwritten, it's like written out and charts, but there's like 8 charts. And I had never even used a crochet chart before when I made that, which was a bad idea. Like it took me like 9 hours to do this much. But once I got the hang of it, I was able to do it, and I made myself notes and stuff, but it turned out too big. So there wasn't even a redemption at the end. I would say drops patterns in general are not great because they're just so sparse. Like if you're a newbie, they're not gonna help you at all. What is my all-time favorite yarn brand? I would say if I was stuck on a desert island, like if I could only pick one yarn company to work with for the rest of my life and money was not an issue, I would definitely pick Malabrigo. I love their yarn. This question says, I love your podcast, or it must be your niche. Are you planning a new one? So I don't know if you mean, am I planning a new episode, or am I planning a new podcast on a new subject? I don't know. But what I will say is that actually, yes, I do have another podcast. It is not on YouTube. It's for the church that we are starting, and it is called The Different Church Podcast. You can search for it on Spotify and on iTunes podcasts. It will come up. At the moment, there are 3 episodes, but there will be one every 2 weeks, and it's just audio, and it's all about religion. So if you're not into that, I will not be offended, but if you want to hear me more, you can definitely find me there. Oh, I've reached the end of the first page. Okay. I'm going to do like a few more, and then I think I'm going to wrap up and save some for the next time. So because it's so hot in Florida, when do you wear your crochet and knitted items? Well, I wear them December through February, pretty much. Luckily, the office where I work is fairly cool, so I have been wearing cardigans and shawls and things, although in like June, July, and August, that's not going to happen, but I have been wearing things Like, I wear this all day. How do you choose your projects? Do you like the way something looks, or is it sometimes just on a whim, or has a new technique? Like, what are your reasons to start a project? I used to just pick things based on what I like. Like, I'll just grab something and I'll do whatever I want with it. But I would say that's different for me now, especially this past year and this year. I am trying to only make things that I really are going to fit in my wardrobe, because what's the point of, sometimes you make things just to make them, but like most of the time, I don't want to be wasting my knit and crochet time. Also, before I start a project, do you just dive head first, or do I take time to read and research the pattern and the pattern instructions? I just dive right in almost always. There's a couple of patterns that I am like have trepidation about, and so therefore then I'm like, oh, okay, let me like read and make sure about some things. But generally, I just dive right in. Let's see. How old was I when I started crocheting? 23, 24, possibly. Knitting was like 18. Have I ever worked with number 10 crochet cotton or thread? No, I have not, although I have worked with plenty of lace weight yarn, which is just as thin and just as fiddly. If I could have a craft night, oh, this is a good question to end on. If I could have a craft night with anyone, historical or real characters, who would I have a craft night with? And I know you want me to say something profound and like I would have a craft night with Obama or the Pope or something. No. I would invite some very dear friends that I have met through this community. So I would invite Kalisha from the Quirky Monday Craftcast. I would invite Claudia of Crochet Luna, Z from Zelda in RJ3 on YouTube. I would invite Stephanie from the Tatted Tatter. I would invite Elizabeth from Crochet Cakes, Caroline from Mind and Muse, Lori of the Lori Lulu 327. That's your Instagram name. That's not your podcast name. The Lori Lulu Crochet Podcast. I would, just so many people that I have met and like fill my heart with so much joy. Definitely all of those people I would invite, because I just have formed some really, really fabulous relationships. If I could include like UK people, Faye from the Crochet Circle podcast, love Charlie, I need more content from you. All of that. So just the amount of people that I have been able to connect with and be with and share with and just form these amazing relationships with because of this podcast is truly mind-blowing, and I love it. And that's who I would want to spend a crafty afternoon with. The people that I love dearly. So I am eternally grateful for this podcast and for them and for all of you for coming back every week. Special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You enabled me to buy this tripod. So exciting. And that's going so well. The love letter for the Patreon supporters. So yeah, I mean, I think that's all that I have to share with you. I feel like 7 inches is a ton of knitting on the Gramps cardigan, even though it's just one project. But I'll have some travel coming up, so hopefully I'll have some more. Wouldn't it be crazy if I was done with the body of the Gramps cardigan by the next time I recorded? Is that a crazy goal or what? I feel like it's crazy, but maybe it's possible. So definitely don't forget to check out the link for Ana Luisa jewelry. Give you one last look. The beautiful pieces. I really, really think that their stuff is wonderful and that you could get a cool discount and buy stuff for your friends for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas or any kind of other gift-giving holiday in December. So I will leave a link. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what your Thanksgiving plans are. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Happy crafting. Bye.